When Grace opened her patient's medical file, a folded note slipped out. Her hands shook as she read it. Don't trust anyone. My life depends on you. Meet me at midnight. A William. She looked around the empty hallway of St. Mary's Hospital. It was 11:58 p.m. The whole building felt too quiet, too dark. Her heart pounded. William Grant wasn't just any patient. He was a 30-year-old billionaire, lying in room 14, supposedly dying from heart failure. But if he was telling the truth, someone inside this hospital was trying to kill him. Grace pushed open his door. The moonlight came through the window, casting shadows across the room. William sat up in bed, his dark hair falling across his forehead. Even in a hospital gown, he looked like someone out of a magazine. You got my note, he said quietly. What's going on? Grace whispered. Why would you write something like that? He patted the bed beside him. Please. Sit. Grace sat carefully, her palms sweaty. She had been his nurse for 3 weeks, but being this close to him made her nervous. He looked at her in a way that made her heart skip. Grace, he said, lowering his voice, I need you to believe me. I'm not dying of heart disease. I'm being poisoned. Slowly. And if you don't help me, they'll finish the job. Grace's mouth went dry. That can't be true. Look at this. He rolled up his sleeve. Tiny red marks dotted his arm. They weren't from the 4. They looked older, deliberate. Her chest tightened. Who's doing this to you? Doctors. Or at least people pretending to be. I don't know who to trust. But I know one thing, you're different. You're the only one I can trust. He leaned closer, his eyes searching hers. Tell me the truth. Do you feel it too? This connection between us? Grace swallowed hard. She knew exactly what he meant. She had tried to stay professional, but William made that impossible. His smile. His voice. The way he remembered every small thing she told him. Yes, she whispered. His hand brushed hers, warm and strong. When I think about dying, you're the only thing that gives me courage. Grace. I think I'm falling in love with you. Her heart stopped. William. Before she could say more, the sound of footsteps echoed in the hallway. Heavy, slow. William's grip tightened on her wrist. Hide. Now. Grace darted behind the curtain just as the door opened. A tall man in a white coat walked in. His face was hard, unfamiliar. He wasn't William's regular doctor. Time for your medicine, the man said coldly. I don't want any more medicine, William snapped. I'm afraid that's not your choice. Grace held her breath as she watched through the gap. The man prepared a syringe, his movements sharp. William tried to push him away, but he was too weak. Please, William gasped. I know what you're doing. The needle slid into his foreline. Within seconds, William's body went limp. His eyes fluttered shut. Sleep well, the fake doctor muttered before leaving the room. Grace rushed out from behind the curtain. William. She checked his chart, her heart racing. The drug wasn't listed anywhere. It wasn't even heart medicine. Her hands shook. The note was real. Someone was trying to kill him. Hours later, as the night dragged on, William stirred awake. His face was pale, his breathing shallow. Grace sat beside him, refusing to leave. You saw him, didn't you? He whispered. Yes, she said. He gave you something that wasn't on your chart. William, this is real. They're trying to kill you. I know. That's why I need you. He reached weakly under his pillow and pulled out a small silver key. This opens a safety box at Union Bank downtown. Box number 247. Inside is proof of everything. Documents. Photos. Recordings. Evidence that shows who's behind this. Grace frowned. Why don't we just go to the police? Because the people trying to kill me have power. Money. Connections. That box is the only thing strong enough to bring them down. Her fingers closed around the key. What kind of evidence? They've been testing dangerous drugs on patients. Using hospitals as laboratories. When people get too sick or start asking questions, they silence them. His eyes filled with pain. I used to work with them. I didn't know what they were really doing. But when I tried to quit, they came after me. And now, his voice cracked. Now I may not survive the week. Grace's throat tightened. Then let's get you out of here. He shook his head. It's too late. Last night's injection was stronger. I can feel it killing me. But you can stop them. He pressed the key into her hand. Promise me you'll finish what I started. Tears burned her eyes. I don't want you to die. He smiled weakly. I don't care about me anymore. I care about you. About what happens after I'm gone. Her heart ached. William. Promise me, he whispered. I promise. By morning, Grace slipped out of the hospital, the key hidden in her pocket. At Union Bank, she unlocked safety box 312. Inside were stacks of files, photos of patients, audio recordings of secret meetings. It was worse than she imagined. At the bottom lay 2 letters. One was addressed to his lawyer. The other to her. With trembling hands, Grace opened hers. Dear Grace, if you're reading this, I didn't make it. I'm sorry for pulling you into my world, but you were the only person I could trust. Thank you for giving me hope. Thank you for showing me love in my darkest hour. In another life, maybe we could have been happy. Please use this evidence. Stop them. Save lives. That is my last wish. A William. Grace pressed the letter to her chest and cried. Then she did what he asked. She took the evidence straight to the police. Within hours, the FBI raided the hospital and arrested several staff members linked to the drug tests. They raided the company funding the experiments too. But when Grace rushed back to William's room with the officers, the bed was empty. He was gone. No transfer papers. No explanation. Some said he died quietly before they arrived. Others whispered he had been moved by powerful friends. Grace never got a clear answer. 6 months later, Grace visited a quiet cemetery outside the city. She placed flowers on William's grave, her fingers tracing his name on the stone. Every week, she came back to tell him what happened, how his evidence brought down a billion-dollar criminal ring, how patients were finally safe, how his sacrifice had saved countless lives. And every week, she remembered the man who had trusted her with everything. The billionaire who, in his final hours, had chosen love over fear. Grace kept her promise. She granted his last wish. And in doing so, she made sure the world would never forget William Grant.